Welcome to everyone. This is a annual meeting of the Rotary Action Group for Community Economic Development, and I am Carl Treelevin, the 2023 to 2025 chair. This will be my last meeting as leader of the organization, and one of the important things we'll be doing is a transition, but we want to share with you what we've been doing, and we'll be covering a number of different things. But first, for the benefit of those of you who are visitors, who Ragced is, what we do. And we describe ourselves as a worldwide network of Rotarians, Rotaractors that are focused on the Rotary Foundation's community and economic development area of focus. The United Nations, I think, as many of you know, has 17 sustainable development goals. Number one is no poverty. And while that's a stretch, the goal is clearly to reduce poverty, and that is our mission and the why we exist, to alleviate poverty worldwide. And the way we do it is by investing in individuals, in businesses, and in their communities. And we're doing it with a range of different things. And all we began as focused on microfinance when the organization began as the Rotary Action Group for Microfinance. We've since expanded, realizing that there are a lot of other very valuable tools in our toolbox. Agricultural development, business coaching, the entire list that you see there. Microfinance is certainly still there and still very important to us, but many other things have become extremely important in our overall effort to help Rotary and the Rotary Foundation fight poverty. So here's our agenda today. I'm calling us to order and welcoming everyone. And based on the number of people we have participating today, we have a quorum. Our first order of business will be calling on Jim Alluted, our treasurer, and then Margaret Williamson for an acknowledgement of those who will be departing us as directors. Then Margaret is going to lead us in our election of several new vacant director positions. We'll get a report from Bonaventure Fandahan on what the Rotary Foundation has been doing in the area of community economic development. We'll then hear from our cadre and operations leaders talking about what they're doing. We then have a very special presentation by Professor Jeffrey Ash of Tufts University and Columbia University on some really interesting work that he's been doing. We'll get a report on Ragced's foundation, and then introduce Wally Gardner, our new chair for the next 2 years, and his priorities and vision. Any new business we have. We'll then circle back to Margaret Williamson to review the voting we've done and then adjourn. So a lot of things to cover in the next 85 to 90 minutes. So with that, I would like to turn it to Jim Ludet, our past chair and a past district governor from the Rotary Club of Toronto Sunrise. And Jim, if you can give us our treasurer's report. I can't see. Jim is here, isn't he?
I don't think he's joined us yet.
Okay. Well, then we shall defer that for the time being. We'll come back in a little bit to Jim, and we'll then I want to take a moment and say thank you to our 3 directors who will be departing us. They are Fabio Carballo from Costa Rica, and Roberta Ribadenera from Ecuador, and Margaret Williamson from Detroit, Michigan in the US. They've done great work for us as an organization, and we very much appreciate what they've been doing for us. So Margaret, if I could turn the meeting to you right now for a report on nominations and voting.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carl. A good day to everyone. And I'd also like to echo what Carl just said about thanking our outgoing board members who have served so faithfully during these past years, and even, now completing a 3-year term on our Ragced Board of Directors. And so they've been so instrumental in our progress. And so I'd like to thank them as well. Now, I'd like to present the slate of board members board nominees. And this slate was developed by the nominating committee. And our committee identified along with really the nominees were proposed by Ragced members. And they were proposed and are being proposed for board nominations for a 3-year term that begins 2025 and is completed 2028. And our first nominee is Juliana Corredor Gonzalez. She's the past president of the Rotary E-Club International, District 4195, during the year 2023-24. She's Deputy Director, Cadre Technical Team Leader of Ragced. She's President of Ragced LATAM currently. Gomathi T. McNatam is co-founder and secretary of the Rotary IT Fellowship. She's secretary of our Ragced Board of Directors and chair of the Rotary Action Groups in District 3192. Peter Verbeck is past president of the Key Biscayne Rotary Club, 1516, District 6990 Governor, Southeast Florida and Grand Bahamas Island, 2020-2021, and currently serves as Ragced membership chair. As I've said, these nominees were proposed by current Ragced board members, and they are all actively involved on committees and in leadership positions. So this is the slate that I am proposing for nominations. And so at this point, I look for a second to the nomination of our board members.
So Margaret has proposed these nominations. Is there a second?
I'll second. Wally.
Okay. Wally Gardner has seconded. So a motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right. Then Margaret and Gomathi, if you could explain the voting procedure.
Yes, and Gomathi, please explain what we need to do next in order to vote.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So the voting is being conducted through the Rotary's IT Fellowship platform that is within the Rotary Action Group Community Economic Development Global Space. So I posted a link on chat here on Zoom. Log into the platform, navigate to the Ragced Global Space and locate the post in the feed section and cast your vote. And I see that a lot of Ragced members have already created an account and present on the platform. So all you have to do is locate the voting post in the feed section and cast your vote. And for those Ragced members who are yet to create an account, use the same link, enter your first and last name and email address, and follow the same procedure. I'm going to post the instructions on the Zoom chat again. In case you're stuck anywhere, please ping me on Zoom and I will guide you.
Okay. So,
Thank you very much, Timothy.
yeah, thank you. Gomati, I have a question. So those of us who've registered already have already received the link so that we can vote.
That's right, yes. So you
Okay,
can log into
okay,
the platform and cast your vote there.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
So we have the following people have been nominated to serve as officers of the organization
Yeah,
going forward
and
by the board. Margaret, if you want to run through these folks.
yes, yes. Our nominees for officers are Wally Gardner, Chair, past District Governor Carl Trelevin as past President, Gomati TM as Secretary, and past District Governor Carl as Treasurer. Lynn Duckham as Regional Cadre, and Anne Marie Moster as Regional Cadre. And that concludes our list of nominees for all of the positions going forward, the officer positions 2025 to 2026. Other directors that are continuing their terms are listed. Past District Governor Sonny Rakesh, Christina Wiley, Biswadget, Adrian Booth Johnson, past District Governor Sentimu, and past District Governor Carl Trelevin. And again, we'd like to thank all of our board of directors and other supporters that contribute so much to economic development projects throughout the world. And you will hear more about that as we proceed with this meeting. But that concludes the report, and we will have the outcome of the elections at the conclusion, near the conclusion of this meeting.
Very good. Margaret, thank you very much. Has Jim Luda joined us yet?
Let's see.
Let me try reaching out to him, Carl.
Okay.
You want me to?
Well, in that case, just to
yeah.
let me go ahead and I'll do the report since that is
Okay.
that's going to be my new job anyway. So temporarily, I'll play treasurer. So I put on here the income statement for Ragced for the past fiscal year. And our fiscal year begins July 1 and it ends on June 30th. So you can see our total revenue there. This is incomplete at this point. The revenue numbers are correct, but you can see that we've received almost $6,400 from members in the form of memberships. We also received a donation, and we had a sponsorship of $500 for the Rotary Convention. This was from an organization called TCP Global that we've been working with, and they shared the booth. We tried something else also out of the convention, which was to offer some discounts on pricing if you joined at the convention. And so there's the sum, and there's our total revenue. Our expenses at this point are incomplete because we haven't put in all the information yet concerning the convention. But you can see our other expenses. But we've actually are clearly operating at a profit. So things as a whole are going pretty well. Here's our balance sheet as of June 30th. We have a lot of cash, more than it's actually ours. And the reason being is because one of the things we've done is to serve as the bank, so to speak, for Ragtime, which is an event put on the Rotary Action Group Council at each Rotary convention. And so we had almost $7,700 that we've collected and are holding for them. We also had almost $8,000 come in for a new event that we had this year. Ragced co-sponsored a day-long seminar at the Rotary Convention with the Economic Sustainability Rotary Action Group. And it was focused on climate change and different aspects of that. Very successful event. We had approximately 90 people come in person for it, and we had over 100 people participate online around the world. That event was very close to breaking even. But anyways, you can see here, other than that, we have a minimal accounts payable. And so we're really in a very strong financial position at this point. If anyone wants to see a complete set of financial statements, income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow, they are available for inspection. Although I'd encourage you to wait a little bit until we get all of the expenses from the convention and anything else taken care of. Can I answer any questions? Well, then
I have one question. One question.
Yes, go ahead.
When are the ragtime and Rycon funds payable? So I see that they're due, but when are they payable?
Well, they'll be payable pretty much immediately. And Jim is just we're just holding them, and as we receive invoices from them, we will pay them out.
Oh, okay. Another question is about the stripe cost, $290.
Yes.
I know it doesn't make us poor, but it's a high percentage when you compare it to the other high impact activities. The convention, it's too close to the convention. Convention is so important, and it's so close to that cost. Additionally, there is a Singapore convention cost, but no Calgary convention costs.
Right. As I say, we have not put the Calgary convention expenses in yet. There'll be several $1,000s.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Okay.
so my projection would be is we'll end up having a profit of about $1,000 to $1,500. So I see that Jim Ludet has joined us. Jim, if you can add additional comments or color to this.
You might be muted, Jim.
Oh. Maybe he was not able to stay on.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Oh,
now?
there you are. Okay.
Okay.
So we've gone through the statements.
There was a lot of trouble logging in this morning with the registration sheet. I tried it yesterday and again this morning, and it just wouldn't work. But anyway, I'm finally in. I didn't hear what all the questions were, but I'm not sure what you spoke about on the membership under revenues. But maybe it's been already said, but let me say it again.
Go ahead and add detail.
Yeah, we had a very good year on memberships. Of that $6,395 you show us in membership revenue. That included 128 one-year memberships, 34 five-year memberships, and 7 Rotaract memberships. But I really want to mention that it's really important for us to have a booth and have it properly staffed at the RI conventions, because this year in Calgary, we ended up picking 45 memberships that people that came through our booth. 33 of them were 1 year, 11 5-year, and 1 Rotaractor. So again, I think it's very important that we do have a booth that's properly staffed, and we're pushing the good that Ragced does globally, because it certainly brings in membership. And Carl, I did hear you talk about some remaining expenses. Yes, there are.
Yes, right.
Yeah, there's about $2,000 left to come in for Calgary expenses. I've got about 1,600 so far, and I know there's a bit more to come. But at the end of the day, we're going to end up with we should have a bank account with about $1,500 to $2,000 going into 25-26.
Which puts us in very solid position.
Yes,
So-
it does.
So
One of our best years, I believe.
Yeah. So before you were able to join, Jim, I answered a couple questions from Andrea. Anyone else have questions? Okay. Jim, you want to?
Yes, I think Andrea was speaking about Stripe fees. I'm not sure what the question was, but I mean, we look at a different number of payment processors, and Stripe is a processor, a gateway that gives us more access globally than what we had before. We used to have PayPal, but PayPal, there's some countries PayPal does not cover where Rotary clubs are involved.
Mhm. Yes, that is one of our challenges, particularly in a number of countries where PayPal and both PayPal and Stripe are we have difficulty.
Yes.
So you want to do a vote or ask for a motion?
Yes. So if we can move that the financial information that's been presented today be accepted as read.
So moved.
Okay, a motion.
Seconded.
Thank you. Who is that?
Paul Bessler and
Andrea.
Okay, and
Andrea
Andrea
seconded.
second. Right. Thank you very much.
Any
I guess
further
we should say
discussion?
all in favor, or because of the number of people, are there any nays? So none heard.
By
The
acclamation.
motion is moved.
Great. Jim, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
And
And sorry
also
for
say
the
thank you.
delay on my side.
Yeah. Well, we also at the same time, let me add it is I appreciate the dedicated effort you put in to this over the past couple of years. So very, very, very helpful.
Thank you.
So let's move on then. And our next order of business is a report from Bonaventure Fanduhan, our area focus manager for the Rotary Foundation. So Bonaventure?
Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Bonaventure Fondoran. I'm the area focus manager for community economic development. This year, this Rotary year, that past Rotary year has been very, very important for Rotarian to learn about impact. And we have defined our strategy during the convention. It was shared publicly with everybody, and we connect those strategies with sustainable development goals. But besides that, I want to give you a quick summary on our global grant for community economic development. Next slide. So number-wise, the global grant we have for humanitarian grant, we received 113 grants last year compared to 101 before the year prior to that. For VTT, we received 3 VTT compared to 4 the prior years. For scholar, we received a 25 scholar compared to 19. So in the total, we received 141 community economic development global grant compared to 124. Next. So how are we doing, investment-wise, funding-wise? So in 2023, the humanitarian grant are around 6.2 million. But this year, past year, we made until 7 million. which gives us some leeway there. But with the VTT, we are a little bit shorter. VTT on 2023 was 279 US dollar compared to 196 last year. But the scholar we went to 1 million compared to 6 million the year before. So in total, for community economic development, the past year, we are around 8.2 million compared to 7.2 million the year before. Next slide. So the summary is, the change is on the grant numbers. We have 12 grants more than last year, which is 11%. And when it comes to humanitarian, 1 grant less compared to VTT, but 6 global grants when it comes to scholars. So in total, 17 grants more than the year before. From the funding wise, we have a total of 1 million US dollar this past year, more than the year before. So scholar category have shown the strongest on both grant and funding, but VTT has declined. At the same time, we have the overall growth of 14% across both measures. But that's not all. That's not all, because this year, the Rotary Foundation have selected, a program called Partner for Water Access and Better Harvest in India, which is a program of scale. And that program has a strong component of community economic development. The last program approved by the trustees at the Rotary Convention, Rotary Initiative in Colombia, also have a strong entrepreneurship support for the youth component, which is a community economic development component. So all of those has been happened last Rotary year with the leadership of Carl and all the, Ragced members. You guys have done a lot. You have coached a lot of Rotary members. You have supported them, and the result is here. I just want to thank you for that opportunity. I will be happy to answer any question you may have. Thank you.
Bonaventure, thank you. Does anyone have a question for Bonaventure concerning this? Well, the numbers are certainly very encouraging, seeing increases not only in the number of grants, but in the total funding. And we've seen a trend of this over a number of years, and hopefully the trend will continue next year and the year after that. The increasing importance of community economic development as a focus of the Rotary Foundation. So let's then move on. Our next task, we want to give you a report on our operations committee and on the work of the cadre. So I'd like to call on Neelam Beatty, our Chief Technical Officer, and Nick Frankel and Wally, and let you collectively share your thoughts on what's been happening.
Okay, thanks, Carl. Let's let Nick go first and explain how we're streamlining our operations.
Thank you very much, Carl and Wally. My name is Nick Frankel. I am the current operations chair for the Rotary Action Group for Community Economic Development. One of the phenomena we've seen, and you saw some of it in what Bonaventure just presented, is not only more projects in the community in the area of community economic development, but more requests coming to the Community Economic Development Action Group for support. Everything from helping to define a project to help write a global grant, to help implement, find partners, help funding. We're there to help any club or district in the Rotary world that wants to do a project in the area of community economic development. So we've also found at the conventions that people, rather than coming to ask us what we do, are coming to ask us for support. With my good friend Bob Spence, who is on this call, we've begun to put together an automated process so that people can first make a request, let us know what it is they need, and from that request, we can then work with the various members of the action group, the cadres, some of the other technical experts, people around the world that are co-located with where the project is being done, so that we can manage not only what the problem is that they're asking us to help solve or the challenges they're asking us to help solve, but we can track from the time we get the request to the time the request has been completed and any other activities associated with that project. We actually have some of it in place. We will be in a current newsletter announcing the online request form, how you get to it, what happens when we get it, and how we can help you. So I think in a short couple of minutes, Wally, that's what we're doing, and we're trying to make it easier for people to get to us and more timely for us to respond.
Great, thanks, Nick. The new software we're using is called Proof Hub, and I think it's going to streamline our operations and make sure we don't have anybody drop through the cracks. So, Neelam, over to you. I know you just recently had a meeting with our new chief technical or our technical officers, Lynn Duckham and Anne-Marie Mostart. Fill us in on how that went.
Thank you, Wally. Yeah, the cadre, I guess the cadre appointed by RI continues to evolve. It's a work in progress. So the cadre get involved in very number of different things in terms of not only the global grants, as Bonaventure was mentioning, but it also in terms of helping define projects. And I think the way we operate is very on a regional basis. And on that note, I'm glad to see that there's a little more focus on that with Anne-Marie coming in. So what, and plus also working with other rags, and I think Carl will talk about in our one-day workshop, but because the economic development area kind of weaves through almost every other area. So when we define community economic development, we have an impact and close connections with environment, health, literacy, or disaster. And so this past year, a number of these conversations have been happening. They don't always result in immediately in a tangible project, but that is, I think, building for the future. And so now for this year, I think we are now beginning to work through what the focus will be. And so we'll be happy to report a little more at the next meeting. But for last year, one of the things we did within Ragced cadre was had a survey that went out to all cadre, and that has been kind of informing our work and approach. So it's a work in progress at this point. And Wally, I guess with your role as regional lead on the cadre, I think you can probably add something to it too.
Sure, you bet. Thanks, Neelam. It's interesting to note that one of the biggest challenges we have is time zones. Linda's in Australia, and Anne-Marie is in Africa, and Neelam's in North America with myself. So scheduling something that works for everybody, that somebody's not getting up at 5:30 in the morning to attend a meeting is always interesting. Yeah, the cadre members are always interested, and I wear two hats in this outfit for the next year. I'm also the North American Regional Coordinator. And we have a new thing we'll be trying out where we're taking guinea pigs, if you would, people that are starting a global grant or have an interest in doing a grant, and pairing them up with new cadre members to test out, does it meet the area of focus? Does it have a community assessment done? Give advice on how to do that, look at measurement and evaluation, sustainability. So we can generally put together a better written global grant application that's more likely to be accepted, and guide people through that, which in turn gets us to our other goal of getting more money out of the foundation and increasing the our slice of the pie. So thanks for that, Neelam. So back to you, Carl.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. I'd add one other thing with respect to the cadre. Obviously, Rotary is historically based upon uh, our vocations and applying our technical expertise to both helping each other out and solving problems. Our membership traditionally has come through the clubs, but it could well be that one of the best ways in the future to find members is through cadre. So I would encourage people to those that people they know who have technical expertise but are not Rotarians to get involved through cadre and through Ragced, and hopefully that becomes the introduction to Rotary going forward for many people. So we've now covered that, and I would now like to introduce our guest speaker today, Professor Jeffrey Ash. Jeff is a professor at Columbia University and I believe also Tufts University, and also heading up an organization called Grassroots Financial Action. So, Jeff, let me turn the floor over to you. We're very pleased to have you.
You're on mute.
Yes, the first detail was to get myself off mute. It'll make my presentation a lot easier, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to propose, and it's a great challenge for the whole development community, is an approach to development that builds on the wisdom of local local actors as they're solving their problems. And our motto at Grassroots Finance Action are two. They already have the answers, just ask. And that seems like a phenomenally obvious thing to do, but I'll have to say, as a veteran of the development trenches for 40 years, we didn't ask what was going on. We came up with our ideas. We developed teams. We selected NGO partners. We wrote manuals. We delivered services, and we measured our results in terms of them meeting the objectives that we'd established. It worked more or less, but when I started asking around how people are already solving their problems, I was flabbergasted and amazed. So the second part of this is from our ideas to theirs. So it's a matter of asking what they're doing and, oh, what else would happen? What else could help? And then figuring out how to nudge that along. So this is taking a development paradigm and basically flipping it upside down from our ideas to theirs. And believe me, the last few years, it has been a phenomenal process. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so good news. Look, we have found, by looking at this, $1 trillion invested every year in development assistance. What? What? We have all of our work, your work at Rotary, all the donor organizations and the like, and it by no means anyway approaches $1 trillion. But how do we get to that? I've been researching it. My graduate students have been researching that, and we found that every year there's $385 billion in remittances collected by those immigrants living in rich countries and sending them back to their home villages and their home families. And of that assistance, 95% is effective. Well, 5% is for Western Union and other costs for getting the service delivered, but it goes directly there. It has importance. Development assistance, which was last year over $200 billion, has now reduced to $170 billion, with the United States and most of Europe pulling back on their assistance. And of that help, consider all the overheads, the service delivery costs, the bureaucratic entanglements, and the like. About, at best, half of that money actually goes to directly benefit the community. Okay, so there's a gigantic, and that's 4 or 5 times more than all development assistance put together. Then there are savings groups. There's what are called ROSCAs, Revolving Saving and Credit Association, which exists all over the world, and self-help groups. And this, just to give you a quick idea, and a savings group or a ROSCA, 20 people come together. You all put money into the same amount of money into a pool, with each person in turn receiving the total amount collected that week until all have received their payouts. And my graduate students and I, you can't see it here, but we pull together interviews of this in immigrant communities called backyard bankers. Now, these backyard bankers are not bankers as we know them, but these are, in our case, a scallop sorter, people running food carts from the community, and it profiles how they are mobilizing incredible amounts of money and distributing it. So, so in all the poor countries, there's 1/2 billion people involved in these groups. Most of them villagers, most of them the poor, and some of these are parts of savings groups, which are just like a ROSCA, except they provide loans to the fund during the year, and others. And that's $40 billion a year. And in rich countries, there's some 83 million people who are part of these ROSCAs, and they're mobilizing $400 billion a year. And then typically, they put in $100 a week. That's $5,000 a year. Many are putting in $200. That's $10,000 a year. They have 1 billion members. So, and all of this is happening. This $1 trillion economy is happening without our bright ideas and without a penny of our financial support. So this is this is an interesting alternative model of how to mobilize and how to distribute massive amounts of money effectively. Next slide. So, so it's based on a few basic principles. All of this happens without centralized control, without any bureaucracy, all itemized on the level of decisions made by individuals and communities. And it's works along a series of very specific principles. One, that everybody, uh, almost everybody, has a tremendous desire to move your life forward. And then they realize that without any money, they can't move their lives forward. And so through disciplined savings, holding back a little bit, a quarter, 10 cents a day, a quarter a day, a dollar a week, $2 a week, or in the case of immigrants, $100 a week, so they can consume less because they have a clear objective that they want to have a lump of useful capital to move their lives forward. Now, this is why does it work? Well, there's mutual accountability because everybody realizes that if you don't make your payment, those who are going to get their payment won't get it completely. So not making a payment to your group is like social suicide in these tight-knit communities. But that is not so rigid because it's within a context of mutual support, helping each other. So if somebody needs some money right away, they can move up in line. If somebody runs into problems, the others will help out. And all this happening with the context of strong families and communities. So this totally atomized approach, which was really characteristic of the early colonial period that de Tocqueville demonstrated, and Democracy in America and others, where small communities, small institutions working together, certainly the Black community after slavery that organized themselves into independent communities, show this potential that can happen. Okay, next slide. So all of the system is as opposed to, and I've fought through the USAID bureaucracy for many a decade, that instead of being ponderous, difficult, costly, frustrating, bureaucratic, unponderable sometimes. This system, as it works at the local level, is agile, evolving, effective, decentralized, and highly effective as it builds social capital and community. So all this is happening. And so, and this is not just invented, but yesterday, but these are based on principles of how to survive in these communities that evolved over generations, but they're not fixed. They're constantly evolving and with new challenges, new information, evolving, changing. And we've seen this in our work with immigrant communities, which I'll describe in a minute or so. And these are led by what we are calling, some call them positive deviants. We call them community geniuses. MacArthur has a list of community geniuses, but we see that the equal level of genius and intelligence and creativity and evolving understanding occurring at this hyperlocal level. And just to figure out how this works, think of the agility of a flock of birds that's moving like starlings in formation without any kind of central control by following a simple basic rules, or let's say, to use a current methodology, metaphor, drones like the Ukrainians are using versus expensive fighter jets and warfare. Drones, flexible, swarming, creativity, learning from each other. Next slide. So, okay, so that sounds great. So where do we fit in? All $1 trillion is out there. Lots of things are happening. People's lives are moving forward. Well, in the global south, it's great news that 500,000,000 are part of some mechanism, whether it's a savings group or a traditional revolving savings and credit association. But 500,000,000 do in the global south, but 2 billion do not save at all. And these are the ones most vulnerable that are most subjective to catastrophe and have to make nothing but bad decisions as they try to get a little bit of money together. And in immigrant communities, only a third are part of these savings circles. And who better to include them? And this is a radical part of this idea. Oh, not us to cook up our schemes to get the money and have them saving in banks and institutions, but to ask the people actually doing it, understand how they do it, and then have them move forward, and then say, "Oh, that's a great plan. Well, we'll give you a little stipend or a push or a chance to network with others so you can move your agenda forward." So we build on local wisdom, honed over generations, with people already speak the language, understand the culture, the setting, and can operate at this hyper local nano level creatively. Next slide. So our job is not, so we assume that the leaders are the experts, and then we identify strong local NGOs who in turn identify the people in the community that are community geniuses. I know my work and our work in Mali, where we did 20,000 savings groups, that we in every community we identified community agents who went out and created new groups on their own. And they received a small stipend to organize their work and also to network with others. And our job is to document the outcome. So we flip their paradigm, ask them, put them together, provide them a small stimulus. They go out, they network, they learn from each other, they develop a sense of spirit and community, and off they go. Next one. Next slide. So the Backyard Bankers Initiative, and that's what I've been talking about. And we tried out this concept. This is all kind of interesting theory, but we said, all right, so if this is what we believe in, how can we pull this together? So we worked with the one NGO, the Latino Support Network, and we talked to the people participating in that institution, now the participants, not the staff, and the institution found 3 backyard bankers. a dump truck operator, a daycare provider, and a clerk and a health board. And we said, okay, here's a couple $1,000. Go see what you can do. Can you organize some more groups? And we thought we didn't know if it would work or not, but they said, great. And within weeks, they'd organized three what the Guatemalans call cuchubales. And they completed the cycle, added members, and then by charging a $40 fee, so let's say a group of 20, each person is putting in $200 a week. Uh, that means that our group of 20, they put in $100 a week. That means that each person in turn is receiving $2,000, but they only receive $1,960 because that $40 covers the cost of the organizers going out collecting and taking the risks that somebody might not pay. So that keeps this program completely sustainable. And it's important, even though we wanted to do so, we had to hold ourselves back, stand on our, put our, keep our mouths shut, provided no advice, but we just asked, well, how are you progressing? Next slide. So then we said, okay, then we were going, and then another local NGO, the Community Economic Development Center of New Bedford. You may remember New Bedford as the place where Melville left and on his famous whaling trip and wrote Moby Dick, same community. They visited Lynn, and we had no role in this, but they were so inspired. A group of people from the Community Economic Development Center, all local people, not the staff, but the members. They went there. They were totally inspired by what they saw. And on the way back in their truck, which is a 3-hour trip, they organized a group with 20, then they added 20 more, and they continued to add members. And now a group of New Haven heard about them. They're coming up to be inspired. So peers inspiring peers through networking. Uh, and the phenomenal amount of money they're mobilizing. I'm just stunned at the huge money. But they're mobilizing and saving and distributing in the two cities $55,000 every week. That works out to $2.5 million a year. And we figure that the subsidy, those per dollar saved over those 3 years, is much less than 1 penny, about a half a penny per dollar mobilized. So cost effective by getting us out of the picture, believing in the local people, and then giving them a chance to encouraging them and supporting them and talking to them. And they feel amazed. These outsiders are actually thinking that we have something worth sharing. Great. Next one. So what does this mean for Rotary? Well, now that we have two teams in operation. I think local Rotary Club, there's so many communities with large immigrant populations, and this methodology would be good for any place. And we can do this all in Spanish, completely in Spanish. We'll have to adapt a little more creativity to do something in English, but we identify the local organization. The local Rotary Club provides startup funding. The trainers will not be us, but the local backyard bankers from Lynn and New Bedford. And then as they get going, they'll be training others. And so this works out exponentially, expands out exponentially. And so, and internationally, we can use that same approach. Let's say going into Mali, there's 20,000, over 20,000 groups, 10,000 communities, the local village agents who understand how these groups work. With a tiny bit of stimulation, can go out and form groups at a tiny fraction of the cost and complications of starting from fresh. So with that, I rest my case and thank you.
Jeff, thank you very much. Let's open the floor for a few moments to see if anyone has questions.
One question. Thank you so very much. This is so very relevant in Jamaica, and especially as economic economic situation is widening despite the fact that the numbers of labor of employment seems to be reducing. We don't hear it in the work that we're doing. Um, what kind of reasons do you hear from the participants about what led them to come? That's number one. And number two, how do they clubs attract these persons?
Good. Well, thank you. Well, of course, in Jamaica, there's a big tradition of groups formed in groups. I think they're called partners
Yes,
or
I was going to type it in the group
susus and
and
things
I
like that.
decided not to.
Partners and susus. And so the first thing you could, like I do, every time I get in a taxi, I ask, because they're all run by immigrants, and how does it work? Go out and ask how it works, and then just sit down and ask them a question, some questions about, all right, who's in, who's out, how's it work, what are the problems, what are the issues, and so what are your thoughts about expanding, and how can we create a little network of people to do this? So you could do that. We'll be happy to provide you with the questions and the guidance and any kind of support. And there's a wonderful book that also includes Jamaica and the Caribbean. It's called Banker Ladies. And it's just been, and it really explains how these groups work within the Caribbean context. You should look at that too. Okay, thank you.
Very
Happy
good.
to help out any place on the face of the earth. Make this happen by providing all that we learned, our resources and our connections. Anybody
Any
else?
other questions right now? Well, we very much appreciate your presentation, Jeff. The benefit of all, Ragced is working with Jeff and his group, and hopefully we can expand that, because we think the ideas he's presenting have great merit, and there's a lot of potential for it. So let's move on and talk about our recently completed Rotary Convention. This was held in Calgary, and I know a number of you attended this last month. It was June 21st to the 25th in Calgary. Several parts to it. I'll share with you. First of all, that we had a booth in the House of Friendship. Just turn back here and you'll see what that booth looked like. And thanks to Jim Ludit, Mary Coward, Wally, a number of other folks for doing a great job putting this together. Apparently, there are a number of interesting construction challenges with this booth. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to put a picture up here to show you what they gave us when we got started. But had the booth.
Carl,
Yes, Jim.
I can share what I have if you let me share it.
Sure. Let me see if I can do that for you, and make you a co-host. I can find you here.
Yeah, it's done, Carl. Jim, can you
Oh, you
check?
did. Okay. Thank you, Gomati. So go ahead, Jim.
Okay, you can see this is the booth that once we completed the setup, Nick, excuse me, Nick, Mary, and myself on Friday. You can see we had three walls, two on the side and one at the back. And what our issue was, we didn't like this second wall on that you can see on the right hand side. So this is the before shot. So Carl, if you want to go back to, I'll stop sharing and you can go back to the after shot.
Okay. All right. And so go back here and look at that. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but that wall was taken down there because it was on the corner. And so by taking the wall down, it became a much more accessible booth. And
Yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, we shared the booth with TCP Global, an NGO based in Miami, under the direction of a woman named Helene Dudley, who's a member of Ragced, and had quite a number of visitors. And so share with you also that immediately before the convention, we had an all-day seminar with the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group focused on climate change and the economic consequences of that. Had nearly 90 members in attendance. This is our first time doing it, and we also had over 100 people participating online. So it was very successful, and particularly because were very close to break even with the event. On Monday, we also had a breakout session highlighting some projects. Nick, maybe you could share some thoughts or information about the Monday breakout.
There we are. What we decided, and if I had known this, I could have put some slides together. We decided that we had a 1 hour session. What we wanted to do is highlight projects in community economic development. And the focus was on projects other than microfinance. I think there is a vision out there that community economic development equals microfinance, and we wanted to highlight other projects. So we highlighted 4 projects. I know Rick Heideck is on this call. He was doing a program called LIFT, which was an agricultural development project in Nicaragua. We also did a enterprise training and development group project that's going on in Peru. We did a agriculture project that is taking place right now in Nepal, Tibet. And the 4th project was and why can't, I'm losing, I missed one, hang on. Was a village savings group project that we're doing right now in Uganda, focused on a project called FAST, the Financial Accelerated Village Savings Group Transformation, developed by World Vision, and we currently have an $800,000 grant that's working its way through the system. So we featured those 4 projects. The room held 75. We had approximately 140 people in advance. And then we set up where each of the presenters had an hour at the booth and people could come and meet with the presenters, which many did. I think it was extremely successful and something that we should consider doing in the future. And if you want to learn more about it, if you go to the Ragced website and you go to Calgary, all of the brochures and information that was presented that afternoon are available to you.
Nick, thank you very much. Yes, it was a very good session. Also, as mentioned before, we've recruited a number of new members into Ragced and had a couple people renew their memberships there. So the organization is growing. Let me also mention a special thanks to Mary Coward from the Rotary Club of Victoria Harborside in Victoria, BC, Canada. Mary did a great job organizing the entire convention, put a great deal of work in it. Unfortunately, she's not here right now, but when you see her, please extend your thanks to her because she did a great job, along with the work of a whole bunch of other people too. So, so let me then shift now and give you a brief report on the Economic Development and Empowerment Foundation, which is Ragced's sister foundation. You know, just as the Rotary International has its own foundation. We have our own 501c3 charitable entity. And the obvious question is why does Ragced need its own foundation? And the simple answer is to do projects in economic development that the Rotary Foundation either doesn't want to do or really feels it can't do. So in that sense, we are in effect a complement to what the Rotary Foundation is doing. And in particular, when people have ideas, oftentimes their immediate thought is either to do a district grant or a global grant. Those are any of you who have ever been involved in them, particularly global grants, know that it's a huge amount of work. And so our foundation is potentially the way to pilot new ideas, test them out before they're ready to do a global grant. And we've been doing a number of things that way. Let me share with you real quickly some of the things that have been going on. One is we have an ongoing investment in a microfinance institution in Hermosillo, which is in northwest Mexico. And the unique feature of this is we're treating it more as we're investing in it with the expectation eventually we'll get our money back plus interest. And the reason for doing that is simply, hopefully, that creates greater interest and makes them more investable. We've also, as Nick, we're doing a pilot investment with TCP Global with their Village Savings program in Uganda. Hope to expand that. We also have an impact investment in East Africa. And what this is an investment in a partnership that invests in development stage companies in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, several other countries. They've been very, very successful. And in fact, the companies that that the partnership has invested in have created more than 70,000 jobs. So they and hope to continue doing that. We also, this past year, have funded the translation of a manual into Portuguese. This is a manual mainly focused or used by people who are doing growing coffee. Nick, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think it's a partnership we've done for many years. And what we got in return for the investment in Portuguese is we have the opportunity to use their manual in any language, and it is agriculture focused. If we want to set up village savings groups or agricultural projects around the world that require business education, this manual now exists in 6 languages, and we have the right to use it.
Which is great. A couple other quick things. The foundation has helped facilitate the transition of an Afghan refugee family to the U.S. And also, we sponsor the software platform that Ragced uses to help reduce their cost on it. We have a number of things we're hoping to do over the course of the next year. I'll mention real quickly. One is what's referred to as period poverty. It's a real problem for women and young girls there. And we're working with a group out of California to hopefully come up with a commercial strategy for this to expand it beyond the charitable sector because they have a great solution, but it's really something that's a commercial business. We got a couple other things here. We're working with the IT Fellowship on some vocational training. And then something new is we're going to be sponsoring what we're calling the Stephen Ricard Scholarship in Economic Development. And Steve Ricard is one of the founders of Ragced, originally Rotary Action Group for Microfinance. We've named it in his honor. And over the course of this next year, we hope to fund the first of many of these scholarships. Last thing I'll mention to you is we should now be in a position to go back to the Internal Revenue Service to get full recognition as a public charity going forward. So if anyone wants to know more about this, please feel free to contact me or Peter Verbeck. So at this point, I'd now like to introduce our new chair of the Rotary Action Group of Community Economic Development, Wally Gardner. He's a past assistant governor. He's in the High River, Alberta, Canada Club. He's been dedicated to the work of Ragced, the cadre, and all kinds of other things in Rotary. It's been a pleasure serving as chair of this group over the past 2 years, and I'm now very pleased to turn control of it to Wally. So Wally, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much, Carl, and thank you for everything you've done. It's been an honor as well to work with you and learn from you, and I'm still going to be around to knock on your door once in a while and say, "Hey, Carl."
I will be here.
Yeah, you bet. I know where your kneecaps are too. There you go. We're off to a great start, and you can tell by some of the things that we've been talking about that we're doing a lot of new things that we haven't done before. Just to give you a bit of a background, how Ragced came to be, and a little bit of the background of Steve Ricard that Carl was mentioning. Steve Ricard had the idea in District 5360 right here in Alberta, Canada, of raising $1 million to fight poverty. And we thought that's a noble cause and joined ourselves to it. So we had about a dozen people that were interested in doing that. Went around to the 53 Rotary clubs we had in our district at the time, and the reaction was almost universally, good luck with that. Where are you going to get $1 million? $1 million is a lot of money, especially 20 years ago. And we said, well, no, it's going to be $100,000 a year. And everybody said, oh, well, we could do that. So we're now on phase 8 of that right now, putting that together. And I'm very, very pleased and proud to report that our initial goal of $1 million has been knocked out of the park many times. We're over $2.8 million now in little teeny tiny loans of $100, $50, and a few larger ones. And when you look at the social impact of that, it's tremendous. So, goals and priorities for the upcoming year. We're looking at expanding the reach of Ragced, through more chapters. We have a very, very successful chapter going right now, and the most recent one is Ragced Latam, which is the Latin American subsidiary of Ragced Global. And through those chapters, we're expecting to expand our membership, expand our reach, and basically use the principles we've developed in Ragced Global to achieve greater impact in those regional areas. So that's off with a bang, and we've been working in the past on a few other ones as well, but expect to see some new chapters. India is coming to mind. It's just about online. We're looking at starting one in Australia, and South Africa is also on our radar as well. Growing membership. And one of the things we can do if we're bigger is have more members and more involvement, and they in turn can spread the word and increase what we're doing too. And we're very excited about an upcoming webinar educational series that we'll be putting together. We've got a team of people working on that in a committee right now, and we hope to deliver webinars that are not only educational, interesting, but inspiring. And that's an interesting goal for us, and that will help us grow membership as well. Vocational training. You'll note that we're heavily involved with the IT fellowship and the technology group. And they've been helping us out with a lot of things and have been really an essential part of building a platform and an infrastructure that we can use within Ragced. And it's also then something we can show to all the other Rotary Action groups too. So it's a key piece of the puzzle here. And so far we've been very, very successful in putting together things that make our work in Ragced easier to do, things we can offer to our chapters as well to help them do their work and solve some of the technical issues that show up. The other issue is engaging membership. You know, if you look at Maslow's need hierarchies, everybody needs a belonging type, feeling going on, and we're hoping to promote that as well. And if you look at some of the things we've been doing with the IT technical people, we've been having sort of a coffee shop type thing where you can drop in and talk to some of the other members. So that's been really quite neat as well. So let's have a look at the next slide. Oops, something happened. Can somebody punch the next slide up? There we go. Okay, the help wanted page. If you're looking at the ads in the newspaper, we're starting up what I call sort of a task force in some cases to investigate new ideas. We don't want to be a not invented here type organization. We're always open to new ideas. And as you can tell, we've been doing some really, really effective and new type things that we hadn't thought of before. You know, we have a new foundation. We're partnering with new alliances with other groups and helping them with their endeavors, and also learning from them at the same time. So we're really excited about a number of things we're doing, and some of them are big ones, some of them are little ones. The largest one probably is our FAST program um, that we're running, and Nick just told you about that one. We've been working with Elaine to do some of the projects she's doing as well in Africa, and that's working out very, very well. So first thing we're looking for is a journalist writer. You know, upcoming October is Community Economic Development Month, and we want to find somebody that has a background in journalism within our membership that would like to help us publicize a little bit and get into many of the Rotary publications that are available around the world. Recently, this past month, we were very, very pleased to have an article placed in the Mexican Rotary magazine, and was well received. And we discovered there's a whole bunch of other ones too. So if you have any kind of background in journalism and you like to write, please get in touch. Insurance is another one that we're looking for. If you're a retired insurance executive, we would like to talk to you. One of the thoughts we're putting around, and this is not something we may be doing, it's something we're going to investigate and bring back to the executive to examine and then take to the board, is whether Ragced could be offering microfinance insurance or insure some of the small loans that we're doing. And there has been several attempts to do that, and we're doing some research on it right now. But if you're interested in joining us help with that, that would be good. Taipei convention planners. Nick and Mary have signed on again to do that. Particularly if you live in Taipei, we're really interested to talk to you about being the local contact. But we want to put together a committee and start working on the Taipei convention as soon as possible so it's equally successful as what we did in Calgary this past year. That came off very, very well. And we need a liaison person with the other RAGs. The Rotary Action Group get together about every 3 months with Zoo Hall from Rotary Foundation to discuss things. But we want to be able to touch, what other groups are doing that we're involved with, and where community economic development skills that we have and our talents and time can be put to helping other groups as well, because we're interwoven with all of these things. And the idea is not to be working in silos. You're better to work with everybody else. Measurement and evaluation is something we look at too. We know that Ragced is doing a good job, but if you're really interested in measurement and evaluation, we'd be interested in talking to you to reflect on what we've been doing in Ragced to expand our reach and our impact. But how can we measure that, and how do we know we're doing a good job? So if you have an interest in philosophical musings on that particular topic, we'd be really keen. Educational scholarships are something new that we're doing. And Carl can tell you, or has just told you a little bit about that. Our new Steve Ricard educational scholarship is our first venture into that field, and is again a new thing that we're trying. And we'd like to be doing more of that. Education is the key to the future. We're strengthening our inner infrastructure. We were using this new software called Proof Hub, and hats off to Bob Spence and Nick Frankel for pioneering that and playing around with it. It's been a bit of a huge challenge to get it together. Gomathy has been there in the background, as always, doing pulling all the strings and going, "No, you guys, you messed it up totally," in a polite, diplomatic way. I was the first to do that and started a file folder where you basically open the file cabinet and throw something in instead of putting it in a file folder. So we're all learning how to do that, and we'll be pushing that platform in the future here in the next year so that it helps us organize what we're doing, because we're scaling up the organization, and as you scale up an organization, you need the infrastructure to support doing that. And with this particular venture that we're putting together with Bob and Nick and Gomathi working on it, we hope that we will be able to do that. So far, it's looking very, very positive. A strategic planner. A little while back, Carl wrote just an amazing strategic plan for Ragced, which took him a fair amount of time. And the the temptation always is that you get the strategic plan, everybody reads and says, "Great job," and puts it back on the shelf, and it gathers dust. So we'll be taking down the strategic plan off the shelf, blowing it off, all the dust off of it, and re-examining and reflecting on what we are doing, what our strengths are, what our talents are, and where we should be moving forward. So if you're a strategic planner or you're interested in that kind of thing, talk to Carl or myself. We'd like to put together a multi-year strategic plan that has measurable outcomes. We talk about that in global grants all the time. We know we're doing good work, but how do we know? How can we measure it? So you measure it, you can manage it. So that's an upcoming thing. On the back burner, we have the idea of starting a Ragced e-club, which would give us access to Rotary Foundation funds, but also promote new members into CED Rotarians and Rotaract members as well that might want to move up into Rotary and work in CED. So it would be a club dedicated to community economic development. So if you're interested in starting one of those, perfect. And I twisted Margaret's arm and she said, yes, I'd be interested in working on governments again and being our guru parliamentarian type person to make sure we're doing everything according to our guidelines and policies. We have got, thanks to Margaret and her crew, an excellent document that shows everything that Ragced should be doing and the Rotarians working within Ragced should be doing, what each job entails, what it's responsible for, and what our past policies and guidelines have been that have guided us to this point. And a big thank you to Margaret. It's tough work to do, and it's kind of a slog at times, but it's of the utmost importance to keep an organization on track. And lastly, well, not lastly, nope, we're kind of looking for a secretary. We're not looking very hard because Gomathi has been really, really good at this, and we're trying to convince her to, yeah, please stay, please, 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 like keep doing that. Just been doing a fabulous job, and it's just amazing what we're going along and bumping along, and she'll come out of the blue and say, you guys, keeping us back on track again. And we're starting some new stuff, again, new that we haven't looked at before. I'll mention a couple here. One is an Indigenous outreach. Jim Lutie and Gordon Cran are really keen on this and are looking at doing projects with our Indigenous people. And this is starting out in Canada, probably in the Winnipeg area, possibly around Calgary as well, to see what kind of economic development we can do with the Indigenous people of any nation. So, but we're going to start with Canada, see how it goes. So if you're interested in that, Jim Lutie is heavily involved with an organization that's sponsored by the Government of Canada that is doing some absolutely interesting things there as well. So reach out to Jim or Gordon, and they'll be pleased to bend your ear and tell you all about it and get you involved. We've recently had, thanks to Jim again, a really productive chat with a group in the EU, the European Union. They have a group called the Microfinance Network, which is a network of about 65 different organizations all over Europe. And we reached out to them and had a very exciting meeting with them. They're very excited about what we do, and we're very excited about what they do. So we're going to do it together. So that will be something coming up that we're exploring, and we'll be looking for some people to help work with that, be points of contact, and explore what we can do with each of their 65 members. So it's a good place to start. Adrian Johnson is working on an effort to get us involved with the United Nations as consultants. They're frequently reaching out to find out what people are doing in community economic development, and we're doing lots of it. So we said we should be on that list. So she's working on that, and there's a couple of other committees within the the UN that we feel we can have some influence on policies, and look at what possible projects they're planning as well. DISCs. I don't know if everybody's heard of what a DISC is, but it's the District International Service Committee. And Robin is looking at that, Robin Steele, and she is a DISC leader in Colorado. And we're looking at ways that we can get ourselves integrated into what DISCs are doing and get the word out that we're here to help you do things. And if you have a community economic development project in your district, we would be pleased to help out with it. Partnerships, Biswajit is running that effort, and we already have a number of partnerships that we put together, and we'll be looking for some more. So we're looking for some more people to help Biswajit do that, because it is a big job and it's going to be a bigger job. So we need more people in there as well. So that's the help wanted. If you're looking for a job and things to keep you off the street and keep you busy at night and help Ragced grow, we're looking for you. So back to you, Carl.
Okay, thank you, Wally. So to see if any new business that we need to address today.
Oh, we've got a question. Andrea
Oh,
raised
there
her
was a
hand
question.
here.
Oh, okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah. And Andrea,
I was saying, I'm simply saying I'm available to serve at a later point when you want to talk about that.
You betcha.
great.
Thank you, Andrea.
Well, thank you, Andrea. So someone will follow up with you. And the same is true of any of the rest of you on the call or others that you know. It's, as Wally said, a key goal is to get more people involved, because that will help, move Ragced forward and accomplish the things we're trying to do. So let's then move on to turn it back to Margaret to get a report on the
I'm sorry,
results.
just one last point too. One last point, may I?
Yes, you may.
There is a bigger picture value in that, meaning and in that when Rotary hits the streets for funding or technical support or partnership or lending of a brand to implement projects, it would be easier because eventually we'd have a known reputation of designing and implementing solid, viable projects that are relevant.
Certainly a very good point. And we're, as noted, we're trying to increase our profile. The more we do that, the more people who will come and look at what we're doing will have greater impact. So Margaret and Gomati, if you can report back on the results of our election.
All right, well, we have our slate of Juliana, Gomati, and Peter have been overwhelmingly elected. So I would like
Very
to
good.
congratulate them.
Well, congratulations to each of you.
In fact, there was just one abstention. So with that, it's just about, I'll say, unanimous. So congratulations.
Very good. Margaret and Gomati, thank you very much for organizing that. And, because there's as you might expect, an awful lot of behind the scenes work that does need to be done. So with that, the board will be meeting shortly to take up the new year. And then we, of course, have our executive committee. So the work of Ragced, now under the capable leadership of Wally Gardner, will continue. This will conclude our meeting. Of course, as always, we encourage you to visit our website, ragced.org. Visit us on social media. This meeting has been recorded and it will be available on YouTube, I believe, within 48 hours. And of course, follow us as much as you can. So again, thank you very much for your participation today. It's been a pleasure serving as chair for the past 2 years. You've got a capable leader in Wally and a new team, and I look forward to being a part of a great organization as it goes forward. We're now adjourned. Thank you for your help today.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks,
Carl.
Gomati.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hello.
Margaret. Margaret is gone. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Sammy. How are you?
How are you
Good to
doing?
see you.
Cool.
Hi, I'm doing well.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Nice to see you.
Okay, good to see you as well.
Bye. Bye, everyone. I'll be ending the meeting now.